Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Jam out the Tech. We're back with the next video for ya. Let's get it. Now, first thing I want to talk about, well, this is about AC. This is going to make you understand what AC is all about, how it works, and what the components do in the AC system. This video will be strictly about the expansion valve AC system. I'll be coming out to the next video for the orifice tube. But this is mainly for the expansion valve system. Right? AC stands for air conditioning. Duh. What is air conditioning? Air conditioning doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be cold. Air conditioning is conditioning of the air to make it suitable in any driving situation, any conditions outside. So if outside it's cold, you can condition the air to be hot via the heater system, and if outside is hot, you can vary or condition the inside air to make it cold. So it's just to make the car, inside the car, comfortable. Basically, that's what air conditioning means. This will be about the cold aspect of it. We will talk about the heater aspect of it next time. So let's get into it. Here I know this is my old booklet of what I study for AC, but I'm just going to be showing you off this diagram, and we're going to draw the diagram on a piece of paper so you guys can understand it. So before we come to this, I'm going to draw it on this so I can talk about different components and so on. So let's get. Okay, so the first thing into our AC system is the amazing compressor. Now the compressor is used, that is what you see inside of the engine, that the belt run. You have a belt that runs the pulley, and when you turn on the AC, you have a clutch on the front of it that connects to the pulley and allows everything inside of the pump to spin. This pumps around refrigerant, right? That is what this does. It pumps around refrigerant and it pressurizes the system, right? So here you have a small line leaving the compressor, going about its merry way until it bucks up to the condenser. Now this device is what you'd find right in front of your radiator. It looks just like the radiator, by the way. And here you got the fins. Yeah, so this is now your condenser. Let me label it. Compressor, condenser. Yeah, so the condenser is what removes the heat, basically. So this removes the heat from the hot vapor refrigerant, high pressure vapor refrigerant. It removes the heat, and whenever you remove heat from a vapor, it becomes a liquid, basically. So that's what happens here. It uses a condenser fan. This fan blows ambient air through this. So basically what happens here, right? The compressor raises the pressure of the vapor, right? And whenever you raise pressure, you raise the boiling point, right? So the compressor raises the pressure of the vapor, raising its boiling point. So the boiling point is now higher. It will be so high that now whenever this ambient air blows through the condenser, it becomes a liquid, if you understand. So basically that's what this does. It removes the heat from the liquid, turning it into a vapor, into a liquid, my bad. Basically that's what happens. So that is the whole science behind this. So it will go into this as a high pressure vapor and come out as a high pressure liquid, right? So now this high pressure liquid goes to a receiver dryer. So receiver. So this receiver removes moisture from the liquid refrigerant. So anything like, you know, any, if there was to be any, say a compressor went bad and there is any material or any foreign material, it will be stuck here, guys. So that's why anytime you have a blockage in the system, or you have high pressure and low pressure on your gauges, the most time that means that this can, most time you change this first before you get all crazy with the system. So after it leaves there, it goes to an expansion valve. Now this valve is very amazing. I'm going to just leave it at where it is now. What this does, as the high pressure liquid comes into it, it reduces the pressure because it has a small opening. So basically it reduces the pressure of the high pressure liquid, turning it into a low pressure liquid. So now it's a low pressure liquid. So when it leaves there, it goes to a next little device that looks like a radiator as well, but it's called an evaporator. And then this evaporator also has a fan. So this fan is called the blower motor, or the blower fan. This is what you activate when you turn on that blower, that little blower switch inside of the car. This is what it activates. So when you turn on that blower switch, this turns on and it blows ambient air from inside of the car through this. Now this is where things get interesting. Oh, and then you have the line. This line is normally the fat line. Low pressure lines are always fat, so you have the fat line going to the compressor. So this is where you'd see your service valve to hook up your gauge, and your next valve would be anywhere half here. So this would be a high pressure valve, and this would be a low pressure valve most of the time. So anyways, the way the expansion valves work, it is variable. It varies the opening, right? So it has a sensor that senses the outlet pressure of the evaporator, because what this wants to do, it wants to keep this at a constant pressure. So if inside is very hot, or should I say this needs more refrigerant to cool, you would see that this device would notice that by a high pressure on this. So as this increases, this valve opens up more to allow more refrigerant inside. If this gets too cold, it closes, allowing less refrigerant inside. So that's how it varies the amount of refrigerant going through the evaporator. Now the way all this works, right? This is now high pressure vapor. The way all this works, as the low pressure liquid goes in, it is now low pressure. You decrease the pressure, you also decrease the boiling point. Now that the boiling point of this liquid is so low, that means anything, almost any temperature can boil this refrigerant. And whenever you boil a fluid, it removes heat. So as this liquid goes into the evaporator, the blower motor blows the ambient air over it. So let's call this the ambient air, say it's even 80 degrees Fahrenheit. As this blows the ambient air over it, because now the boiling point is so low, it boils this fluid very rapidly, especially since the pressure is lowered via the expansion valve. The boiling point is lowered, so the 80 degrees Fahrenheit will, sorry about that, battery died, but I not even remember where we left off. But anyways, yeah, so as I said before, low pressure, low boiling point, so it boils at a lower temperature, hence the any ambient temperature above this boiling point will make this liquid boil, and as it boils, it removes the heat from the ambient temperature and carries the heat outside. So when you feel this pipe, it's supposed to be cold when you hold it by hand. Alright, so that's basically how it works. So you know that automobiles use R134A refrigerant. Some use, back in the days, used R12, but this is the real, this is what I'm going to talk about in this video. This is what is used in most cars from 1993 up, and the older cars you can convert this into it. So yeah guys, so let's get to the diagram. So here we have a PT chart. This is a pressure temperature chart. All this does is show you at what temperature or what pressure will the temperature be at its boiling point. Saturation is basically the pressure at which the temperature at a certain pressure where it would boil, basically. So say for instance, let me give you an example like what you'd see on a car, 30 psi, because this is the psi. See, psi is the middle one. Here you have 30 psi would give you a temperature, boiling temperature at 35 degrees Fahrenheit. So at 35 degrees Fahrenheit, so at 30 psi the boiling point would be at 35. So any temperature above 35 will make this refrigerant boil. You understand? So that's how you would look at the gauges. So when you look at the gauge and you see the pressure, there is a corresponding temperature, boiling temperature. So that is how you know it's cool. It's cooling down inside. Once you get, because that's the main purpose now, you need to get the boiling point as low as possible, but you need to keep it above freezing point. So you know the freezing of water is 0, right? So you would never want to see your temperature, your pressures below 27.8 or 28 psi. Hope you guys understand what I'm saying. You want to keep the boiling point above freezing of water. You don't want the evaporator to freeze. That is the main thing about AC. You need to keep it above freezing of water. So a typical pressure, as I said, would be this 30, and it all depends on the ambient temperature. So here we have an extra chart again. If outside is anywhere between there, you would expect a low temperature. Here we are, 25 to 30 psi, and it can go as much as 59 psi, but it has to be really hot outside. So basically 49, let's see, 49. So they have 48. It would give you a boiling point of 53, which is still cold, especially if you're in a hot time, so you would still feel cold at 53. So basically that's how you read this, guys. This is the PT chart, and you would see this on your gauges. Let me go get my gauge and show you guys. And that is why you would want, that's why sometimes you hear they say you want to double. On the high pressure side, you would want to double the ambient times 2 or something like that. So say the ambient was 80, that's 180. So let us say, you know, yeah, that would be 180 or 200, yeah, it's like 200 flat or so. Let's look for 200 on this. So 200 psi. So we have 201. That's 131. So 131 degree Fahrenheit. So that means if the condenser fan is blowing 80 degrees Fahrenheit over this must be cooled, because this is a higher temperature. So that's basically what the AC system does. The condenser tries to make the condenser have a higher temperature than the ambient, so that when the ambient air is blown over it, it cools down hence turning it into a liquid. So that's what saturation is. Saturation is any number. So this, removing heat from this number will cause it to condense. Adding heat to this will cause it to boil even more. So that's just what it is. So at this pressure, so let's say 200 at this pressure and this temperature, this would still be in a certain state. Adding or removing heat will change its state. That's what saturation is. So that's why they always tell you that you want to double the ambient to give you an idea of your saturation of your high pressure side. All you need to do is make sure that the high pressure side is a lot more than the ambient, so that it can get efficient cooling, help with the system. So that's basically what it is. Okay, here are my gauges. Right, this is the high side, red is high side, blue is low side. If you look closely, you're gonna see, if you look right there, you see R134A. Listen now. The outer ring here, where you see the 50, the 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, that's your pressure. And everything you see in the inside, in the blue, everything here in the inside is pressure, is temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit. So remember, outside is PSI, inside here is temperatures. As you can see different type of refrigerants. There you see R12 at the top. So all of the numbers you see up there is for R12. R22 would be all the numbers under there. R134A is these numbers on top, these blue numbers. So here you have 0, 20, 40. That's for R134A. And R410 is down here, that's for like house and so on. So if you look good here, we're working with R134A. So you see you have 0, 20, 40. The gauge is basically a PT chart. So if you look good here, let us say we're using 20, right? We'll carry 20 in. 20 is about, alright, 25, 20, 15, 15, 10. So around, so at a temperature of 10, the pressure would be around, let us say 15, around 15. So let us see what it is on the PT chart. So we're looking 15 gives 15, 20 gives how much? 20 gives 23. Hold on. Oh, so here we are. 20 would give 18 psi. Let us look again. 20. Yeah, that's just about right, because this would be 15 right here, and the next two could be 20, and the 20 kind of lines up between these two strokes, so it's right. So that is basically what this is. This is just a PT chart. So it shows you the corresponding boiling temperatures to the PSIs. So if it's at 30 psi, it will show you how much temperature it is on the inside, how much it's boiling at. Same with this side, but this is the high side. This shows you what's going on in the condenser, this shows you what's going on in the evaporator. So that is basically what these gauges do. They tell you the pressures so you can have an understanding of the temperatures. So, and here's my little kit. So yeah, so let us run through this right here. Here we have the compressor. The compressor it compresses the refrigerant into a high pressure vapor, sends the high pressure vapor down this line, 70 degrees Celsius. right? So 70 degrees Celsius is the temperature of this line. It goes into this condenser, and as it goes in through the condenser, you have a fan blowing 30 degrees Celsius. Remember that heat moves from hot to cold, so since the air is cooler, it removes the heat from the condenser, hence turning this into a liquid. So I hope you understand. Just like what I explained before, the compressor compresses this into a tight, high pressure vapor, raises the temperature and the pressure, right? So it raises the temperature and the pressure high. When it goes through this condenser, the air removes the heat from that vapor and turns it into a liquid, which is still high pressure, but it's now a liquid, and it comes out here at 60 degrees Celsius. Goes into the filter dryer where it removes the moisture and so on. Then it goes up, passes you're going to have your service valve where you connect your high pressure fitting, goes up into the vehicle through the expansion valve. This expansion valve now varies the opening, as I said before, turning it into a low pressure liquid. Low pressure, low boiling point. Here inside here would be very hot, or it would be, say outside is ambient, that's the ambient, so ambient would be blowing across this, boil the refrigerant, turning it back into a vapor, and as it boils, it removes the heat, extracts the heat, and then you get a 5 degree air blowing out. So hot air comes in and turns into cold air, so it removes the heat from the air, sending out cold air, and this cold vapor now goes back. This is the black type of expansion valve, goes back through. This is where, so this return line, it senses the temperature and varies the opening, and then it goes back out, and then you would have a next fitting here, and then it goes back into the compressor. That line should be cold, this line should be warm, this should be hot when you feel it. So that's basically how the system works, right? This is how the expansion system works. So I'm going to go outside and show you on my van the components. Let's get it. First of all, let me show you the settings. Here you have recirculate and the next door. This basically what this does, this allows you to lock off the vent outside, preventing air from coming from the outside air, and it only cools inside basically. And this one allows you to bring air from outside inside, and you cool that air. That's basically what this does. Here is the fan blower, or the blower fan. This controls the fan that blows under the dashboard, that blows the air through the evaporator, the heater core, and it comes through this. Basically that's what this does. Here controls a next door inside, which allows you to either channel air through the top vents, channel here to the top vents and the lower vents. I don't know if you can see this. No, you can't, but there are some vents down there. So this basically just channels the air basically. This now controls a blend door, so it basically makes the differentiation between cool and hot. So you have a plate between the heater core and the evaporator, and that plate, if you want cold air, it shuts off the hot air, and if you want hot air, it shuts off the cool air. So that's basically what that does. So that's it for the controls. Let's go outside. Okay, here's the compressor. This device here is what pumps the refrigerant. So here you see this line that goes on to this goes to the condenser. So this is where this is the hot line, and then this line comes from the evaporator. So this line runs down, and then comes back here and goes inside. Inside here is where the evaporator is. So let's start from here. This pumps the refrigerant along this line, hot, high pressure vapor, hot high pressure vapor, and it goes down into your condenser. Here I have a fan that blows on it. You see that? That's the condenser, not the radiator. Here's the radiator up here. This is the condenser. So if you look good, you see it. See? So this is the condenser. When it goes through the condenser, it leaves the condenser at that pipe there and goes up into your receiver dryer. Remember, it goes through this. It's hot. It's a hot vapor. The cool air blows through it, turns it into a liquid, high pressure liquid. The high pressure liquid goes up into your receiver dryer, and the receiver dryer removes moisture and filtrates that high pressure liquid, sends it on to our next line. And here you can see that long line. This line here goes on. That is where you would see the high pressure fitting on, but mine carries them on the, if you look good, mine carries it on the compressor. Here's the next one around here. This is the next one right here. This is the next high pressure fitting. That's the low pressure fitting right there. So the line runs, and here it is again. Goes in there. So this line should be warm. Goes in there through the expansion valve, and the expansion valve does its thing, sends it across, goes through the evaporator. It evaporates, boils, removes the heat from inside of the vehicle and carries it out here. So when you feel this line, it should be cool, and then this line goes back into the compressor. So that's basically how it works, guys. Please like and share this video. I know it's kind of, my version is kind of more in depth, but you guys need to understand it that way. That's the only way you're going to understand what the gauge is doing. Because some people just tell you, oh, leave it at 30 psi and blah blah blah. You need to know why it should be above 30 or at 30, or why when the days are colder the pressures will be lower. It all has to do with what the air outside is doing. If outside air is cool, the pressures are lower. If out here is hot, the pressure will be higher. But you as the technician are supposed to know that it's not supposed to be considerably high and not supposed to be considerably low. So our next video will come out on how to diagnose. So please like and share this video. We out. Shama the tech to the world. Peace.